All right, next up on our Fab 15 whip around is Warren Central, and talking today with Criss Beyers from Warren. And second go around for Criss at Warren Central. The first one went pretty well, I'd say. You guys won a state championship and had a lot of success. Second time around, Criss, you've got a 14 and 11 team last year. You've got definitely some talent coming back. What's kind of been the the vibe for you on the second time around here at Warren, and has it been a pretty easy transition for you?
Well, it's good to be back. It's good to have an administration, athletic administration that supports what you're trying to do and is there to help you and give you all the support you need instead of the other. So it's good to be back here from Warren. Last year we had we didn't have our practices weren't very competitive. They weren't as competitive as they need to be in order for us to be as good as we could be. And I think this year it'll be different because we've got a lot of kids coming back. We've got some really good young kids. So our practices, I think, will be very competitive. And they were this summer, and I think we saw a lot of improvement. And I think that will help us be a better team throughout the year.
One of the guys that will be key to that success is playing football right now, and he's a very good football player as well. But Javon Guess, and I thought last year, Criss, he really, I know you've only had him for the 1 year, but it seemed like he just became a better overall player. He's in really good shape, it seems like, or throughout basketball he was. Just a real a real physical presence in there for you, and his numbers backed it up. What are your expectations? I know you don't have him right now out here at workouts, but what are you hoping for Javon this season?
Well, I think Javon. I'm not for sure there's anyone who plays any harder than Javon. He goes after it. He goes after it. Last year he got a lot of games where he got in some early foul trouble and some silly fouls, which I don't think will happen this year, and it didn't happen this summer. I think he matured in that way. He continued to work hard this summer. He's developed a little 15, 16-foot jump shot last year that he didn't, or this year that he didn't really have last year. And so I think that'll help him because, people kind of backed off him because they knew that he would try to take it to the basket. And this year he can hit that shot, so they're going to have to come out after him and on him a little bit, and I think that'll give him some opportunities to drive. And he does a good job of seeing the floor. If he gets doubled, he does a good job of finding the person who's open. So I think Javon will have a very good year.
And you've got some other, and he is a senior, I should have mentioned. He's one of our super team players. That'll be out here in a bit before the season starts. But you've got some other seniors as well, Criss. I know Zeke Kirby's a guy who played a lot for you last year. Keyshawn Harlan also was a guy, and watching him here today, looks like he's going to be a major contributor for you. But how about that senior class in general? How much of those? I know Madden Berryalt also, who's on the football team, will be a big part of your team.
We got a deep senior class. A lot of seniors, a lot more than most teams will have. But they can all play, and they can all make each other better. They all compete, and they all play hard. So therefore, we will keep quite a few seniors because, again, that will help our practices. Now, we'll see how that plays in when they don't all get as much playing time as they want. But I think this is a very unselfish group. I think it's a good group who works together, and I think they see the end goal. And our end goal is, like we always talk about, who can we not beat?
Mm-hmm.
And not that you're going to win all those, but still, we can beat anyone we play. And I think that's the way they look at it, and I think it'll be a good year.
When you look at, it seemed like when you came in the first time at Warren Central, you had to kind of start from ground up, and you did that with basically a group that ended up winning state and then had a good run the following year. How is that? Can you find some similarities in maybe what you've got now, or was that sort of a once-in-a-generation type of a situation for you there?
Well, hopefully it's not once-in-a-generation type of thing, but no, I think we'll be really competitive. I mean, we play a heck of a schedule like most of the Marion County teams do, but we play a heck of a schedule, and that'll prepare us, I think, for the tournament. But these guys are tough kids, and they've bought in. We have to be better in practice in order for us to be better in games. And I keep going back to practice because everyone knows that's where you develop everything. And they've bought into that so far, and that's what that first group we had a few years back. They did the same thing, and I think people will be surprised at how hard they play and how well they're playing together.
And out of the, I know a lot of guys we haven't mentioned yet. Anybody else out there that I haven't mentioned that you think is going to be key for your success this year and just major part of your rotation?
Well, Ray Sean Smith moved in, and Davion Hampton moved in. We've got Andre Davis. He's a senior who'll be back, and then the Caleb Elkins kid over from Lawrence North. I've only seen him play once this summer, but everyone talks about what a good player he is, and I know he's a heck of an athlete and works hard. And then we've got Quaylen Lawless, and we've got Brian Nicholson, and I mean we got quite a few kids who I think who can step in and play, and who played this summer, because we had some people missing this summer for football or whatever it was, and we had kids step in and they competed well.
Circling back to Javon, I know not everybody's got an interior guy like that. This world of positionless basketball, it's kind of, a lot of people don't have necessarily the bigs maybe used to see anymore. How big an advantage can that be to have a guy who can really do what he does on the interior for you?
Well, I mean, he's hard to guard. I mean, he's only 6'5", and we play a lot of guys who got a lot more size than that, but he's so active, and he's a lot quicker than some of those guys who are guarding him, so that makes it tough on them. But he's relentless. I mean, if he misses a shot, he goes after it. He gets it and misses it, he goes after it. I mean, he just goes after the ball, and that's something you can't really teach. So who's ever coached him, throughout, they've done a great job of getting that instilled in him. But it is good because you don't see, like you said, you don't see a lot of guys who want the ball inside, and he does. And then with him developing the outside shot and facing the basket, I think that's going to help him as well.
Are there any area, I know you're working, as we talked when I got here, you're working on building toughness and mental toughness. I'm sure a lot of coaches right now this time you're trying to do that before the start of the season. But on the court, is there any areas where you're sort of concerned going into the year, or any areas that maybe like we need to figure this part of our game out?
We just got to play hard for the 32 minutes. I mean, I think we play hard for 2 or 3 possessions or 2 or 3 passes, and then that's like a lot of teams, they'll play hard for the first 10 seconds of a defensive possession, then they kind of let up, and that's something we got to work on. Offensively, we got to work on being we were a little careless with the basketball some this summer, and beginning of practice, we're a little careless. But I think that will change, and that's an emphasis also, is taking care of the basketball, not as many turnovers as we had last year.
I know the schedule always tough, and it always ends with the sectional 10 for you guys, which is, again, going to be really good. You guys, it is a little different this year. No Cathedral and Addicts there in 3A, but everyone else the same, basically. Any other highlights on the schedule for you that are maybe different than what they've been? And obviously the Marion County tournament's something everybody looks forward to in January, but any other big changes for you this year?
No really big changes. We're going to Kokomo again, and that's always a very talented field. We play South Bend Riley in the Forum Shootout, and then we've added Richmond, and of course you always got Carmel, who's not in our conference anymore, but you got Carmel. Then we'll probably play Plainfield, or have a chance to play Plainfield in the Kokomo tournament, and Andy does a great job there. So Richmond's going to be very, very good. So there's not really a game on our schedule or team on our schedule we can take a deep breath on. So we have to be ready for every game.
Yeah, it should be a fun year again. Criss Beyers here joining me, and just lastly here, Criss, as you kind of look forward to your season, I mean, it's got to be, like you mentioned at the top, being back here at Warren's, been a good experience for you. But and you've taken this program to the state championship. Now you might not have this football team might be making a run pretty deep here too. But just what's it been like for you coming back here and coaching at Warren the second time around?
It's great. I mean, I never really wanted to leave Warren first time, as sometimes you think money's more important than certain things, and but I'm glad to be back at Warren. I love Warren. The people here are great. The athletic administration, like I said, Mike Kirshner, Derek Moyers, and Lauren Hughes have been great. Principal's great. And then you got Marcus Clayton, who hired me the first time. He's over in central administration. So I mean, it's really good to be back in the community. You know, it's a lot of people come back. Good to see you again, which, you know, I think is sincere. And I mean, it is. It's good to be back, and it's like coming home.
It's funny, every once in a while the David Bell shot at New Albany, or at Seymour against New Albany, comes up, and, you know, someone will want to talk about that to me, or I'll bring it up to someone will ask my favorite memories or whatever. That game seems to grow in stature over time. For that, how often do you find yourself, you know, thinking back to that season and that game in particular?
I don't think about it a lot until someone mentions it, and then or someone will say, "Hey, do you remember this?" And they'll show me the tape, and you know, obviously it was a great game, the best high school game I've ever been involved with, personally, and maybe even seen as well. But the thing that gets me about that game is after David hits that shot, our crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we had a tremendous following. Our community got behind us, and you know, Warren Central loves their athletics, and that's what's important here, along with the academics. But athletics is important, and so it's good to be back where that is important.
Yeah, so I think that's a game I'll always remember for sure. And like I said, it only seems to become more memorable over time. But again, good luck this year, Criss, and thanks for joining me.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Thank you.
You bet.